Listen, do you have any idea what it means to be an answer to someone's prayer? What it means to enter the life of someone who no longer believed in love? This wasn't a coincidence. You didn't just show up by chance. God looked at this broken heart and had mercy. And that mercy came through you. This heart had already given up, tired of empty promises, of words without action, of feelings that were nothing more than illusions. It no longer expected anything. It had closed its doors. It didn't want to feel anymore. And then, you arrived. Not just as someone new, but as a gift. As an opportunity that this person no longer allowed themselves to have. And now I ask you, do you understand what this means? Do you realize that this person still carries scars? That this isn't just about you, but about everything they've been through? That sometimes fear will speak louder, insecurities will arise, and doubts will creep in? Are you prepared for that? Because it's not just anything, it's not just about being there when it's easy. It's about being consistent. It's about showing through actions that this story can be different. God entrusted you with a heart that was already without hope. Don't throw that away. Don't be just another reason for pain. Don't repeat what has already been done. You weren't sent to be a new wound, you were sent to be healing. Now tell me, are you ready to be everything this person has never had? If you're not ready, be honest. Don't mislead, don't make promises, don't play with feelings that have already been crushed so many times. Because the last thing this heart needs is another disappointment. If it's going to be the same old story, walk away now. But if you choose to stay, understand you can't be superficial. You can't be half-hearted. You can't just be present without commitment. Just words without actions, just affection without dedication. This heart has already come to know too well the taste of uncertainty, of waiting in vain, of hope that turns into frustration. It has been taught to expect the worst, to doubt what's good, and to always prepare for the moment when everything will crumble again. So don't be surprised if, at some point, this person wants to pull away, if it seems like they're testing you, if, for no apparent reason, that look of distrust appears, that need to protect themselves, that invisible barrier. This isn't about you. This isn't a game. This is the result of everything they have faced. And if you don't have the patience to deal with this, if you can't see beyond the fear, beyond the scars, beyond the past, then you're not the right person to be here. Because loving someone who has been hurt isn't simple. It requires maturity. It requires consistency. It requires you to be willing to be different. Can you be different? Can you understand that this person doesn't want pretty words anymore, but rather actions that back up what is said? Can you stay calm when insecurity arises? Can you not take it personally when their past tries to interfere with the present? Because the truth is, this person wants to trust, wants to give themselves fully, wants to believe in you. But they are scared. And not because they want to be, but because they have learned the hard way that not every love is safe. So if you really want to stay, show that it is worth it. Don't ask for trust, earn it. Don't demand commitment. Make them feel secure. Don't just say it will be different, prove it. Because this person doesn't need empty promises. They need someone who won't give up easily. Someone who will stay when fear tries to push them away. Someone who understands that real love doesn't hurt, doesn't pressure, doesn't imprison. Real love embraces. And if at any point this person says they are scared, listen. If they say they don't want to get hurt again, respect that. If they ask for time, give it, but don't disappear. Don't reinforce the idea that everyone leaves, that no one stays, that no one is capable of truly loving. Be what they never had. Be what this heart has longed to find. And don't think this is about perfection. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be sincere. You just need to be present. You just need to be loyal. Because a heart that has been shattered doesn't need a flawless love. It needs a true love. A love that doesn't waver at the first obstacle, that doesn't tire at the first difficulty, that doesn't give up just because it won't always be easy. So, before promising anything, before saying you want to stay, ask yourself, do you really want to be this gift? Do you really want to be the answer to this prayer? Because if you're just going to be another person who comes and goes, leaving nothing but another wound, don't do it. But if you're here to make a difference, to heal what was once hurt, to prove that love is still worthwhile, then stay. And if you stay, stay for real. If you stay, stay with intention. Don't stay out of need, impulse, or convenience. Stay because you want to care, because you want to build, because you understand what it means to be the last refuge of someone who no longer believed, because you know that love isn't just being there on good days, but also on the hard days. And don't think that just because you showed up, everything will be easy. Don't assume that just because there are feelings, there won't be challenges. Loving someone who has been hurt is like holding a rose full of thorns. If you squeeze too hard, you might hurt them. If you let go, you might lose them. It's a balance. You need to learn to hold on the right way. There will be moments when that heart pulls back for no apparent reason. It will doubt you, even when you haven't done anything wrong. It will question things that might seem obvious to you, but not to it, because pain teaches to always expect the worst. Because those who have been broken learn to be wary, even of what is true. So, be patient. And if you can't be, then don't stay, because this person doesn't need someone who loves only when it's easy. They need someone who isn't scared of the tough days, who doesn't run when emotional baggage surfaces, who doesn't give up just because love here requires more care, but also understand that this person doesn't want to be treated like a burden. They don't want to feel like they need to be fixed, saved, or restored. They just want to be loved in a way that doesn't hurt, in a way that brings security, in a way that offers peace instead of uncertainty. And what about you? Can you be that? Can you be the one who stays when fear speaks louder? Can you be patient without feeling like you're wasting time? Can you understand that sometimes a step back doesn't mean rejection, but rather a reflection of everything this person has already experienced? Because if you're not willing to deal with that, then don't play with this heart. Don't create hopes you can't sustain. Don't light a flame if you don't intend to keep it burning. Because for you, it might just be another relationship, but for this person, it's the last chance to believe in love. And if one day this person trusts you enough to let their guard down, to show their scars, to surrender without reservations, understand the magnitude of that. Because it's not just about wanting to love. It's about learning to be loved again. About having the courage to allow oneself to feel even after everything. About giving love one more chance when all previous chances ended in pain. If this person chooses you, choose back. But choose completely. Choose knowing what that means. Choose with maturity. Choose with honesty. Because true love isn't just about feeling. It's about sustaining. It's about remaining. It's about proving every day that love is still worth it. Now tell me, are you willing to be everything this person has never had? Are you ready to be the difference this heart desperately needs? If you say yes, that you're ready, then know that your actions will need to prove that every day. Because this heart won't be convinced by empty promises or pretty words thrown to the wind. This heart has heard too much, believed too much, and waited for changes that never came. Now, it needs to see. And seeing means noticing your consistency, your real presence, your effort to be different. It means feeling that it doesn't have to stay on high alert, waiting for the moment you will disappoint like everyone else. It means that, little by little, fear will give way to trust. That the barrier will fall. That the feeling will stop being a battlefield and become a safe haven. But for that, you need to be steadfast. You can't take one step forward and 2 steps back. You can't be warm one day and cold the next. You can't offer security today and doubt tomorrow. Because this heart has already learned to identify warning signs. It knows when something isn't as true as it seems. It has felt the pain of waiting for something that never came. So don't test this person's limits. Don't play with their emotions. Don't see how much they can take. Because they have already endured enough. And believe me, this time, if they feel they cannot trust you, they will walk away. And not because they want to, but because they can't afford to get hurt again. If you want to be part of this story, be ready to act differently, to be transparent, to speak the truth, even when it's hard, to understand that sometimes it will be necessary to repeat, reaffirm, and prove 1,000 times that you are there, that you're not going anywhere. And this doesn't mean carrying an unbearable weight. It doesn't mean you need to be perfect, without flaws or mistakes, but it does mean you need to be sincere, that you can't play with feelings, that you can't sow doubts and then expect that heart to blindly believe in you. Because loving someone who has already been broken isn't about fixing them. It's about showing that even with the scars, it's still possible to be loved. It's still possible to be chosen. It's still possible to find someone who isn't afraid of the marks, who doesn't shy away from depth, who isn't intimidated by the past. If you want to be that someone, be ready to fight against the ghosts that still haunt that heart. Not with words, but with actions, with patience, with the resolve of someone who knows what they want and isn't shaken by the first challenges. And if one day that heart asks why it should trust you, have an answer. Not a rehearsed, memorized, empty response, but an answer that comes from the truth of what you feel. And if one day that heart wants to flee, don't hold on forcefully, but also don't let it go without a fight. Show that it's worth staying. Show that this time is different. Show that love doesn't have to be pain, that feelings don't have to be a burden, that surrender can be secure. Now look within yourself and tell me, are you really ready to be that love? To be what no one has ever been before? To prove that true love still exists? If your answer is yes, then prove it. Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, not just in easy moments. Prove it now with every action, with every word, with every choice you make. Because this heart doesn't need another uncertainty. It needs someone who isn't afraid to stay, someone who won't disappear when things get deep. But do you really understand what it means to stay? It's not just about being there for the good times, sharing laughter and promises on easy days. Staying means being present when fear arises, when insecurity speaks louder, when the past insists on knocking at the door. It's about having patience when the answers don't come as quickly as you'd like. It's understanding that a heart that has been broken many times takes longer to trust, even when it desperately wants to believe. Staying means building something solid. It means leaving no room for doubts, for uncertainties, for emotional games. It means not causing pain where there has already been too much. If you're not sure about what you want, don't come close. If you're not willing to be different, don't stir up feelings you won't have the courage to uphold later. Because this heart can't take being just a phase in someone's life anymore. It doesn't want to be a test, a pastime, a temporary experience. It doesn't want to be just a place of comfort when it's convenient. This heart wants to be a home. It wants to be the place where someone decides to live, not just visit when they feel like it. And the question is, are you willing to offer that, to be that security, to be that steady presence that doesn't give up at the first sign of difficulty? Because believe me, challenges will exist. It won't always be easy. But when it comes to true love, difficulty is never a reason to give up. On the contrary, it's a reason to prove that it's worth it. If you think this person is exaggerating, that they should trust more quickly, that they should forget what happened and just move on, then you don't understand anything about love. You don't understand anything about wounds that still bleed, about scars that burn even after so much time. You need to understand that trust isn't imposed, it's earned. That security isn't demanded, it's built. That love isn't just about feeling, but about showing. And if one day this heart decides to trust you, don't play with that. Don't test the limits of their patience. Don't see how far you can go before this heart gives up. Because when it leaves, it will be for good. This heart can't take any more back and forth. It can't endure being left behind again. It can't be shattered one more time. If you want to stay, then truly stay. And if you don't, leave before it's too late. Because what this person needs least is another disappointment to bear. Now I want to know about you. Have you ever lived through something like this? Have you felt you were an answer to someone else's prayers? Have you been afraid to trust after being hurt so many times? Share your story with me in the comments. I want to hear from you. And if this message resonated with you, if it touched your heart in some way, please give it a like because it helps me continue bringing messages like this. And of course, don't forget to subscribe because there's so much more on the way. You're not alone. I see you, I feel you. And this story can still have a different ending.